What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Morning Show. I am your host, Mangone, and you just got me today. The camera's getting a little fuzzy, so hopefully that gets fixed here in a second. There we go. But just me today. We're going to talk SaberSim stuff. I'm going to go through SaberSim, do a little screen share action, so you guys should really enjoy that. I can also show Big T's winning lineup from last night and kind of review that for a little. So we'll kick the show off doing that. I thought I was going to have Big T on, but he's got a golf tournament or something with Uncle T that he already had planned, and he said he definitely would have hopped on if he didn't have that planned already. So, but we can go through and talk about his winning team. I'll just pull it up on what's it called, on Twitter, and just show his team a little bit. He's got a nice little screenshot of it all. We can kind of discuss his teams overall, and you guys maybe give me your thoughts on it. He turned $3,000 into about 25K in just the one main showdown contest. And then, he overall, he did really well. I mean, he got third in the $200. He turned $5,000 into $40,000. So it was a pretty good night for our guy, Big T. While you guys get in here, please like and subscribe to this video. Helps us out a ton. We appreciate it, as always. I'll go through the schedule for you guys today to just, let you guys know what's going on. So, so far today, before we kind of dive in, we got the morning show, obviously, 11 o'clock. Then we got the Swing for the Fences show. That'll be Hoop. That'll be me because JT Hayes cannot be there, so I'm covering for him. He asked me last second. So we'll be back bringing some MLB winners like we did yesterday because it was a pretty good night in the MLB streets for the people at Run Pure. Stevie Boyton, he'll be joining me and Hoop, so that'll be good times. Then we got this final countdown show with Holden, DC, and AP. They'll be breaking all that down. And then, of course, you'll have the NBA stuff with Big T. He'll obviously be on tonight with JSU. They'll be talking that NBA showdown for you guys. And then PGA round 3 showdown with Big Rob and Uncle T. They'll be talking some PGA round 3 showdown over on the Mayo Media Network and over here. So be sure to check that out. It's going to be a pretty good time over here at Run Pure Sports. And then no MMA this weekend. So you'll have round 4 showdown on Saturday. Be sure to check out that show. And then we got Swing for the Fences show on Sunday, 11 a.m. And then we got the NASCAR show at 1 o'clock. So tons of great stuff over here at Run Pure Sports. Phil in the chat, he says, it's kind of funny letting Bielitsa get cooked play after play and letting him stay out there. Phil, it was a tough scene out there for them. But they still ended up winning, still ended up covering too. I did a video with Ali yesterday. We were on the Warriors, -6.5. So I know Big T liked the Warriors too. He liked them to blow them out completely, but he won one of the alt lines, not all of them. So overall, though, good day over here at Run Pure. We got 2 games left. I'm thinking it's 1 game left because I believe the Celtics are going to win. So we'll talk about that now. Let me dive in, though, and show you Big T's winning lineup. So I know Adam G is here looking for Big T. I don't have him here, but I got his winning lineup. So we'll discuss that right now and get your guys' thoughts on that. So let me pull up the screen share now. See if this gets going. Which tab is it supposed to be? It's this one. All right, cool. So we're up. We're running. We got Big T's winning team right here. We're on his Twitter showing $5,000 into $40,000. Adam G, the winning lineup actually didn't have Luka. That was one of the interesting things. We actually talked about that, me and Title, yesterday a little bit. Someone asked in the chat, they said, would it be crazy if they faded Luka? And my response was, listen, I don't think anything's crazy in Showdown. And the reason why it's not crazy to fade someone like Luka is I said the balanced mid-tier build would probably be the reason why. That's how I would fade Luka if I did it. I said, I don't know if it's going to be the correct move, but if you do it, this is what I think you should do. And it does feel like that's kind of what happened, which that's a good segue to talk about here. So Big T obviously didn't win all the money by himself. He did chop with someone in first place, but here's the winning lineup. It was Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Now that is the balanced lineup I talked about. And I mentioned the 5-1. You got 5 Warriors and you only have 1 guy in the mid tier. And when we talked about it a little bit, I think we discussed Brunson or Dinwiddie being that guy. Even though Brunson was 9K, I still thought he was a guy that you could go in that build and make it still kind of balanced. Because if you're just fading Luka, for the most part, you're making basically a balanced build and you're making your captain balanced. You're not going like Curry at the top. And Klay is one of those that, hey, he was pretty unique here in this spot. Obviously only 27% owned on the entire slate. I'm sure his showdown captain spot was probably 7% or something crazy like that. And that's one reason why Big T got a super unique lineup. And doing a 5-1, like sometimes you can limit like what, how many guys that you like, because obviously if you play 5 Warriors, it's like, well, how many options can you pick from? And we only have like 8 guys on the court. So you can argue it limits you in that way, but you're making huge fades on guys like Luka who are just so high owned, where if he's not going to be on the winning lineup and he's 80% owned, well, you've eliminated 80% of the field just like that. So those are just like some really great, unique ways to be different. And GQ, yeah, we can definitely talk about what's going to win, because I'm going to go back shortly. We're going to go into SaberSim, and we're going to look at what I did in SaberSim for the last Celtics Heat showdown slate. You guys can critique and tell me whatever you think, was wrong or right. I kind of know some of the mistakes that were made, but I want to kind of go back and look. We can look at how those teams did. And it should be pretty good conversation points. So I do think the 5-1 Celtics makes a lot of sense tonight. And one reason why I think that makes a lot of sense is just because the Miami Heat are just not a team like salary wise, like the way it's like all priced. They just like don't like do that much. It's like kind of frustrating. You can definitely see it in some of the teams from the last time. So we'll definitely talk about it, and I'll show it a little bit. But Big T's team was really awesome though. Andrew Wiggins has been great all series. He's a guy that I'm just sure Big T kept riding out. Poole's price got really cheap. That was another great thing about his team. Looney was incredible throughout this whole series, which was wild. And hey, sometimes you just got to kind of have to like ride out like some of these players that just fit the matchups really well. It was clear that it was a Kevin Looney series and they were going to use him a ton. Keeping Bielitsa out there was probably not the smartest idea, but ultimately it was a pretty good night for our guy, Big T. He'll be back later tonight with JSU doing the Up the Lock show. So if you're not a premium member, go sign up now at Run Pure Sports. Try the code PJ50. Can't promise it works because I know Hoop was talking about getting rid of that code soon. So use that code PJ50, get you 50% off your first payment. But here, now that I'm screen sharing it up, let me head on over here and show you guys kind of what I got here. So this is SaberSim. If you haven't signed up over at Run Pure Sports and used the optimizers, hey, this is what we got. This is what we use. It's called SaberSim. It's great opto. Helps you kind of go through and, build your teams out. For instance, like if you want, you go to, I'll do it on this other tab just because I don't want to mess up my the situation I'm at. But you can go over and you can just build teams for tonight's slate. So if you take this, you go over to NBA. It'll bring you over to Showdown because there's obviously only one more slate. And you can start building your teams. You build your player pool out. Take all your captains out, put whatever captains you want in, keep them all, adjust the projections. Let's say 64.87 for Tatum's not what you want. Well, I typically do it under the util tab, then it adjusts it itself. But you go to Tatum, make it 47, boom. Now it's his captain projection. It's adjusted to 70.5. So tons of adjustments that you can make that are definitely, a great tool. That if you're not using the optimizer, and you hear Big T talk about it on the shows, right? He always makes adjustments. He always moves things around. And that's how he kind of gets the options that he gets to. He understands what he looks at, and he says, hey, Klay Thompson's someone that I want to be more overweight on. So he bumps his projection up to see how much it puts in there. So Thomas has Tatum or Brown at captain on DK. So I'm going to explain what I've been doing on these slates in a little bit. I want to go back to the last Celtics slate and just show you kind of what I did. And again, I did not do great on this last slate. Let me at least call that out. I did not do a good job. And I was curious, well, what did I do wrong? Like, what did I do right? What were some of the problems on the slate? So this is what I had did. These are the projections that I made. I wanted to make sure that I had more Tatum and Brown last slate. That was the two captains I wanted the most of. I was still fine with happening to getting Jimmy Butler captain. So when I went to the util spot, I bumped up certain guys and bumped down certain guys. So I bumped up Tatum. I bumped up Brown. I bumped down Butler. And I wasn't like dying to bump down Butler, but I just thought, hey, I think the Celtics are going to win. I kind of want more like Celtics, 4-2s, 5-1s. And the best way to get those in there was going with this route and bumping Jimmy down a little bit. And I still got exposure to Jimmy Butler. If you look, which I'll go over here and show you kind of my exposures of what I did last time, you'll see why. I bumped up Marcus Smart. I just wasn't getting enough of him, and I thought it was actually a pretty good series for him. So, he was just really bad in that last game, which was unfortunate. And I think that's one of the big reasons I lost is I had more Marcus Smart than Derek White. That was one of the biggest things that I think really hurt me a ton on that slate. And on top of that, Victor Oladipo was another guy that I bumped up. Yes, I bumped him up to like 24, which isn't like an egregious, bump for him. But compared to these other guys, right? He's above Lowry, who's 6.8K, above Struss, who's at 20, which I didn't mind if I fell on like Struss or Lowry for like a small amount of exposure. Grant Williams at 20, Tucker at 19, Pritchard 15, Vincent I put 13. Martin was like, you don't always get a lot of these cheap guys that pop in there, and I wanted to make sure I got more Martin. Martin was the guy I really wanted to get to. So yeah, I thought that Martin was someone that I wanted to bump up there, and I got a good amount of him. So I'll show off the exposures in a second. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to throw them in there. We'll talk a little bit SaberSim. We'll talk about tonight's slate as well. Adam G, I think it is a closeout night. I think the Celtics win it at home. I am looking to probably play most of my teams with 4 Celtics or 5 Celtics. So that's kind of the approach I'm going to build it out. Vinny in the chat says, I love it. Big T said he was going to win last night, and he did. Congrats to him. Yep. Big T called the shot and did a great job. So congrats to him. The one Heat player, Adam, I think Jimmy Butler is like the one Heat player I'm going to get in there. Maybe it's like, it's not going to be Tucker and like Bam. I'm going to continue just like to fade those guys and not really get exposure to them. I do not think that they are good plays. They're not guys that I want to get onto my lineup. So I am doing my best to kind of stay away from those guys in my builds. But here's the builds I did the other day. And of course, the pricing, the salary, it's going to, all of it's going to be different. It's not going to be exactly the same. But these were my captains. So my captains were Tatum, Smart, Horford, Brown, and Oladipo, which I didn't mind. I did watch the Up to Lock show, and I heard Fallick and Big T talk a little bit about how the Oladipo builds got a lot, and I just said, okay, let me try the Oladipo thing and just see what happens. So let's scroll down and see what Oladipo teams I actually had. And this is the one that's nice about SaberSim. You can go back and look at these teams, right? Like we're looking at them now. We can like see like what was done right, what was done wrong. It even shows the actual score that it got as well, compared to the projected score. So here's my remaining salary too. I made sure to leave some salary on the table. I kind of wanted some unique teams with that. That's one thing looking back, I wish I maybe wouldn't have done. I wish I would have probably, I wish I would have not made like a constraint on the salary, because I think that would have been better. And you know what we can do? We can go through and run it and just see what my teams would have been if I didn't keep the salary constraint on. I made it where it was, let me see if I can find like the min one that I had. I had a 49,700 was like the max that I let it go. And I just wanted to try out something different. I hadn't done any of that, and those were my worst results so far doing Showdown. So maybe that's the reason why. I think some of it played into being Oladipo and Smart were 2 of my worst plays. I also had Denman, who didn't do anything. So I definitely had some really bad plays on my teams for sure. Like Kyle Lowry, good example. I only had, how much did I have of him? Not a lot. I had, yeah, because I bumped him down. Because if you saw before, I had him at like 24, and I moved down like to 22. Actually, no, I guess I did keep it at 22. I still had 15%, and I was just like, how much more am I really going to bump him down? Look, turns out I should have bumped him down to the negatives, because that's how bad he was. But and I almost did X him. He was someone I was considering just hitting the X on. I was kind of close to doing it, but I was like, I like some of my exposures and the rest of the way it is. So kind of just rolled with it. But as you can tell, I had a lot of Marcus Smart, like 60%, and he was terrible. So that kind of hurt me. I had a lot of Tatum, Brown, and because I had a lot of Tatum, Brown, Horford, and Smart, well, there's no room for like Jimmy Butler on as many teams. And I figured, hey, I'm kind of underweight on Jimmy Butler with this approach. It's kind of a different route to go, and I was down with it. Even Robert Williams, he was someone that did pretty well that I liked. And as you can see, this gave me a lot of those like Celtics onslaughts, like I thought. Here they are. So there's 3-3, another 3-3, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I actually got a lot more sprinkles of heat down low here where that messed things up. But 3-3, 3-3 combo, 3-3, and the stack things right here. 4-2, 4-2. So I did get a bunch of 4-2s. There's a 5-man, another 3-3, 5-man, 4-2. And you can go in. This is another thing you can do on SaberSim, which is a great tool, again, that if you haven't signed up at RunPure and you want to, get this, it's an add-on that we have. Like I said, I had a lot of 4-2s and 5-1s, which is good. But you can change the stacks, and you can just go in here and say, hey, 40% 4-2s. I had 35% 3-3s, and then I had 25% 5-1. So all around, I had 65% of like these Celtics onslaughts like I was looking for, and then 35% 3-3s, which I think is pretty good. I'm pretty much happy with that based on like thinking back when I was in the moment building out teams and what I like to do. So I think that was something that I did enjoy. Let's see. Some questions. Yeah. Robinson played 30 minutes last game with Hero out. He's 3K. They moved Martin down to 1.2. So, Phil, this is what we can do. We can go into Popcorn Machine. This might be a tool that you guys have maybe you've never used. So I'll show you it. So let's see Duncan Robinson and all the minutes he played. So Duncan Robinson came in at the 237 mark. Probably came in because they needed some offense. If you remember, I think that was the game where is that the game where Oladipo? No, that was the game Oladipo was bad. It wasn't the game he like went off. But Duncan Robinson came in at the 237 mark, played for a pretty long time in the second quarter, right? So overall, this adds up to what? 237 and then 12, 304. So it was what? Like 14 minutes. And then you got him from 8:07 to 1:16. And then he did get like the blowout run for that 9:34. Now, does he typically get that run? Obviously not. Like, it's just not like Bam, like for instance, Bam Adebayo. He actually, not Skate Vincent, sorry. Bam Adebayo put in the 12 to 131. When did Jimmy Butler play? I guess, looking back, it wasn't a blowout. I'm confusing games because I didn't get to see this full game. But this actually, Duncan Robinson did get way more run than expected, which is kind of interesting. So I assume the reason why he got a little bit more run is because the Heat are just struggling. They don't have any offense, right? So they're probably just saying, hey, we're going to sacrifice the defense for the offense. The one concern I'll have with Duncan Robinson, I always talk about this, is getting role players at home. Like, I like having my like shooters and role players at home, not on the road. But the price tag for Duncan Robinson, if he is going to play the minutes he played, he's obviously someone I'm going to consider and put into my pool a little bit. So Phila said, will you have more exposure to Jimmy or Bam tonight? I'm going to X Bam more than likely again tonight. I've X'd him almost every series and every game, and I'm probably going to do that again. I just don't really think it's a Bam series. If Robert Williams happens to be out, then I'll be on Bam. That was the one time where I was like, without Robert Williams, I thought it was a pretty good spot for Bam Adebayo to bounce back because of how good Robert Williams is at the rim. And I thought that was a really important point to bring up because without Robert Williams, then it's easier for Bam to score down low. And then they played the whole offense through him and he got going early. With Robert Williams down there, it's just very difficult for him to do that. So, figured that's a good question to answer there. I'm posting this in the Run Pure chat right now. So let me do that real quick. NBA DFS. Cool. So hopefully we get some more people in here. If you guys have questions, please fire them in the chat. Also, please like and subscribe to this video. It helps us out a ton over here at Run Pure Sports. We're just going through some SaberSim stuff. Talk a little NBA showdown. Big T, we talked about his little win last night. Shipped it with a Klay Thompson captain. So congrats to him on that. But if there's anything you guys want me to go through in SaberSim and show you guys, certainly happy to do that. Here's also the way you can show the teams. It shows like the stack exposures that you kind of get, like it shows your two-man stacks. Like here's my Miami, Boston. I know Boston two-man stacks. I had 3 Boston on every single team or more. Here's my 2 Miami stacks, 3 stacks, 35% of the 3 threes. Like we talked about, the 4 stacks, 40% Boston, and then the 5-man's 25%. So pretty nice way to use SaberSim. Man, these were some of the setups that I had. And again, you can see the actual score and how they did. This was a really bad set that I went through. It was not a good, set of teams. If I went back and did it again, I don't know, maybe I would add back, like if I obviously know this ahead of time, I would add Derek White back to the pool, right? But the 2 guys that I took kind of stands on that you can tell from my player pool, Marcus Smart, I bumped his projection up a bit because I thought he could be a good option. I also thought a lot of people could go back to Derek White because he had that really good game with Marcus Smart out, and I thought that's a good leverage spot. And I understood, hey, if Marcus Smart doesn't do well, Derek White probably will. If Derek White doesn't do well, Marcus Smart will do well. And that just naturally was going to put me in that situation. And Marcus Smart coming off an injury. Sometimes people are very uncertain about playing guys off of those injuries. So, and another guy I took a stand on that wasn't good was Oladipo. I mean, he had a terrible game. If you look at the score, 11.25. I mean, that is not going to cut it, right? And then, like I said before, Lowry kind of just sprinkled on my team, and I liked my exposure at the top, so I didn't want to mess with it. Didn't mind where I was at with Caleb Martin. I thought that was fine as like a cheap option. I thought about moving the Dwayne Dedmon thing, but I just said, let the projections do the work. I mean, if I bump him up to 12, right, at 1.8, and then he's popping more at the 8.48 at 1K, I just figured there had to be a reason why, like math-wise, of what it was doing, where it just made more sense. And he just got no run, so it's like, what can I do about it? So, and then even Vincent, I put him down at 13, and he still popped in there, which I thought was really interesting. So, but yeah, Phil asked, what do you make of Marcus Smart only playing 24 minutes last game? Are you going back to him? Yeah, let's look at the popcorn machine and see where his minutes actually were and why. I'm assuming he just didn't get the closeout run, which, look, started the game to the 809 spot, personal foul. Those 2 fouls pulled him out of the game quick. That's one of the reasons why he really got messed up. He lost a lot of run here. Then he played this whole section, which, yeah, he did great. But at that point, he played in this mark. And then why did he not close? Well, it's probably pretty simple why he did not close. Derek White was just playing great, right? And what are you going to do about that? When your guy gets into foul trouble, right, for the 2 fouls early on, and then Derek White comes in and plays as well as he did, like, there's just nothing you can do about it. It just, that's how it goes sometimes. So yes, I am going to go back to Marcus Smart because I'm looking at this and I understand why did he lose run? He lost the run because of the personal fouls. So because he lost run because of the personal fouls, everyone's going to look at how he did in the game, right? They're going to go to SaberSim. We see Marcus Smart 17.25. They're going to look at the game log, and they're not going to play him as much as probably they normally would. Like, let's say Marcus Smart did go for like 30 last game. He'd be way higher owned. So I am going to make sure to play some more Marcus Smart. I'm probably going to take that approach again, but you know what I might do? I think I'm going to make sure that I actually have Derek White in the pool, right? Like, I didn't necessarily want to kick him out completely, but I just thought, this is the faster way to do it, so I just kicked him out. I typically only kick out like a couple guys. I don't always kick them all out, and I just put them like down to lower projections. So we can kind of go through shortly and do that if you guys want. But yeah, that's kind of how I did it. And I liked where I was at. I knew I was going to have heavyweight on the Celtics, and I want to have heavyweight on the Celtics again. Like, I'm going to take the same exact approach. I do like the way that it went. I thought I picked the correct game script. My only downfall was I just, I missed on a couple of guys. It's just like, and it hurt me a ton, especially some of the guys that I had, some of the more exposure on, like Marcus Smart at 60%. Oladipo, one of my highest owned Heat guy, 45%. Like, just, that's going to happen sometimes. Sometimes you're just going to swing and miss, and it was a swing and a miss. So let's go and like build out a player pool. So I'm happy to kind of go through this with you guys and mess around with it, and we can talk it through, and then we can run stuff. And if you guys want to see something ran, like, feel free to let me know. So this is how I typically do it. When I do the captains, I just kick every captain out. I just say, okay, all the captains are out of here. It's just easier on me. The way it's my approach, the way that I'd like to do it. Like, listen, I know I'm not going to play Kyle Lowry captain, so let me get him out of there. I'm not going to do that in the util spot and just get rid of them all, but I am going to kick them out when it comes to that. Now, my approach right now is I think I'm going to go Tatum, Brown for sure as captain options, no doubt. Similar to last slate. I mean, these guys have to be in the captain pool. If you don't have them in the captain pool, I think you're doing it wrong. They should be in the pool. I'm going to put Jimmy in the pool. Not necessarily going to force him in there, but I'm curious to see if it's like maybe it's a good approach to take. We'll have to see. Maybe the math will check out. Salary-wise, he is at $15,300. Jaylen Brown is actually cheaper, so higher projection too, so he's going to probably pop in a little bit more. Al Horford, he's the tricky one. I don't know what to do with Al Horford much. I haven't really played. I haven't loved him during this series. Let's see, last game. Let me just see if the rotation's strong for sure. He got the 40 minutes, which is nice. So I'm going to put him in the pool. I'm going to adjust his projection a little bit. Don't know exactly how I'll do it, but I'm definitely going to adjust it. I'm not playing Bam. I'm going to throw Marcus Smart back in here. If I did it lastly, I think I should do it again. I don't think it's a bad idea. Definitely think it's an approach that I think you can take. And we're going to toss in the other Celtics too, and Robert Williams and Derek White. And the reason why I'm going to mention why we're going to put those guys in there, if you look at these like balanced, if you look at like the balanced build captain teams, I just want to see if they pop. Like a Robert Williams at 6'8". It's not identical. Like the Marcus Smart ones are probably better examples. They're similar to the Klay Thompson builds from yesterday. And the thing I like about those is you can just get a lot of unique teams when you do that. So I kind of want to run with that. We'll see what happens. I'm going to take Derek White out of the captain. I just don't want to put him in there. I want to put I'd rather just have more Marcus Smart because I do think it's a pretty good spot for Marcus Smart to really bounce back. I don't want a bench guy just coming in as my captain. A bench guy's the captain probably doesn't seem correct anyway. So I got all starters in as the captain. So we'll run it after I kind of adjust some things. Let's go over to the util though, make some adjustments. So we've talked about a lot about this, on the Up the Lock shows. Big T has discussed it a lot. Listen, Bam Adebayo, just not his series. So I'm not going to kick Bam out completely though, because again, if I get like 5% Bam, then I can just kick him out completely if I don't like it. But let's bump him down to 20. I just want to see what it does. I'm curious. I'm going to bump Jimmy. I'm just going to bump Jimmy to 35. Put him there. Just want to get him a little lower. I'm bumping, and these are probably going to be similar projections to the way I had it last time. I think the one thing I'm going to be more intentional about is probably how I handle some of the guys down low. The guys up top, I'm going to handle them pretty similarly. I am going to bump Smart. I might not bump him. He's at 7,600. I probably won't bump him above Horford, but I'm going to still give him a pretty healthy projection. I'll put him at 30. Let's go 31.5 just to see kind of what it does once we run it. I can easily move it back up if I want to. Lowry, I'm moving down. Like, I don't like this series for Lowry. I would rather get more Bam than I would Lowry. It's just at this point. So I'm going to bump him like really low. I'm going to put him like to 15. We're just going to really kick him down there and let's see what happens. Robert Williams, I want to bump up though. I like Robert Williams. Think he's not a bad option. Wouldn't mind seeing if I get a little bit more captain on him. That projection might give him a little bit more. Maybe it's too much, where then I kind of adjust it back down. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good way to do this. Tyler Hero, what is, who even knows exact status? Let me look at that real quick. If someone knows it in the chat, feel free to fire that in the chat for me and let me know. But I'm going to pull it up now because I don't know if he's going to play. I assume he tries to because it's a winner go home game for that team. So this is what we got. Vincent expected to play. This was as of 17 hours ago. Struss was expected. Tucker expected. Lowry expected. Robert Williams was questionable. Smart was questionable. Gosh, all these guys are always questionable. It's so stupid. Hero was questionable. So we really don't know on Hero. We're still waiting on that. So I can't really make all the adjustments to it. And I'll probably make a lot more of my adjustments and fix some things when I listen to the Up the Lock show with Big T and JSU. That's the premium show that'll be happening tonight. So be sure to check that out. If you haven't signed up at Run Pure Sports, hey, what are you doing? Now's the time to sign up. I mean, Big T's absolutely crushing it. You got to watch those Up the Lock shows. Helps you out. Helps put you in the spot to have some success over here at Run Pure Sports. Also, if you just joined the channel, please like and subscribe this video. Helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. We're not giving any plays of the day out on here, but I will say this. The guy I'm probably going to be heavier on than most again is I'm probably going to go back to the well on the Marcus Smart thing. I'm going to look at it a little more when I kind of get off here just to make sure I'm not making a mistake. Maybe I'll look at some shot volume to see how he's done. But I really do want to go back to him because I think it could be a good spot. And it's nice. He is back at home, and he is a jump shooter technically. So I think that could help him out a little bit. So, yeah, I'm trying to see if I can see his game log and just see how his shot attempts have been. I can pull it up on this other side screen real quick because I am very curious. Very curious how he did in that game, shot volume wise. Because if the shots are still there, I don't know. I think Marcus Smart can definitely bounce back. Sometimes you look at him and you see how the series is gone, and it's hard to pull the trigger. And you're just like, I don't know if I can kind of go back to the well on them. But let's see. Pulling up Marcus Smart's game log now, looking at his shot attempts. I can pull up his usage with some other stuff, and I'll probably do that later on. Yeah, so he only shot. He was 1 for 5, 6 for 11 against the Heat series, 8 for 22. So those are the 3 games he's played in. Man, the only worry is how hurt is he? He could be really hurt. It just could be not the best idea. So I'll tinker around with that a little bit, and we'll run some projections here. I'm probably going to bump him back down a little more. Let me put him at 30 and just see what happens, or 30.5. Because I think I still want to get him, but I don't want it to be the highest owned guy on my teams and whatnot. But Tyler Heroes, man, I'm going to bump him down too. I'll probably put him at 18, throw him down there. Max Struss, I thought it'd be a little bit of a better series for him. I know those wings, it's tough, but I mean, the dude is shot. Well, let's call this out. The dude has shot 0 for 9 and 0 for 7 in his last 2 games. He's over 7 for 3 and 0 for 4. Is that really going to continue? I don't mind while people look at his game logs and think, okay, there's no way I want to play him. I don't mind making him a Heat option. At least he's I bump him over Lowry. I bump him over Hero. I kind of think that's not a bad idea because I've thought that Struss, it could be he's been a lot better throughout this postseason. So I'm going to make sure I do get some exposure to him. I probably want PJ Tucker too to be around a similar range as Max Struss. So I'm going to put them just same exact projections. And we'll see what happens when we run it and how it goes. Gabe Vincent, not that I love him, but he's cheap, right? And I want him over the Lowrys. I want him over the Heroes. So, I'm going to make sure I'll move him up to 15. We'll see how it runs. Oladipo, too. I want him above those guys. I'm going to put him at 18. It was weird that he didn't get as much run as last time. I think he could get more run. Duncan Robinson is another one. He's right now at a 3 projection. Now, of course, I think it's going to move up. And NBA projections are not set at, 11:34 Eastern. So people will be making adjustments to him over at SaberSim, I'm sure. But so that's something to keep note of. We're going to bump him up, though, mainly because of that price. $3K, not too bad. We'll move him up. We're going to move Caleb Martin up. Those are two guys I want to make sure I get exposure to. Dedmon, man, like, I don't know. I'm going to make sure I put him down. I want to get more Martin and I think more Duncan Robinson. So we'll move those ones up a little bit. So we got Caleb should put at 9. Pritchard's pretty down there. I would move Pritchard up a little bit. So I'm gonna move Pritchard up too. That'll help with my Celtics onslaughts. And then I'll move Duncan Robinson back up too. I'll move him up to right above Caleb Martin. See what happens. We'll run it. Or should we get 10? We'll run it and just see what happens because I don't mind this setup, and it should slam a lot of top-end Celtics, I would think. It might even give me a little more Jimmy Butler than I normally would just because I kind of up the floors of those guys. So let's go through and do that. GQ says in the chat, Smart and Time Lord are shaky with the injuries. Yeah, they are a little shaky with the injuries, but, man, Time Lord was good last game. So, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where Marcus Smart did just lose a lot of run because of the foul trouble, and then Derek White playing well. Like, Time Lord played 27 minutes, and he got 26.5 DK points, and that was with only scoring 6 points. He had 3 blocks, 10 rebounds. Like, and at that price, that wasn't that bad. So, but let's run it. Let's just see what happens, and we'll go from there. So we'll run a 20 max. I've been doing a lot 20 max lately, just because trying to get better with using the opto. It's definitely not my strong suit. I'm a better 1 to 3 lineup player, and let's run that and see what happens. So I'm gonna put that in, guys. If you could please like and subscribe to this video. It helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. We got the opto running right here, so it's almost done. And look how quick it is to make these teams for you. You got 20 teams, and let's see what it gets. So we got Jason Tatum at 55%, which I kind of like being aggressive on Tatum today. So I'm kind of okay with that. Jaylen Brown, 20%, Horford, 15, and Smart, 10 at the captain. I don't mind that. The only thing I would maybe change a little bit is, like, I wouldn't mind if it was maybe it was Smart over Horford. I wouldn't hate at captain. Like, maybe it was 15-10. You could flip that around. Again, don't think it's, like, necessary to change it. But that's, like, just something, like, looking with my eyes, what I would want to see. And I was kind of hoping to see Jimmy Butler on there maybe a little bit, but it's probably because of the way I moved the projections around. So that's okay. It's, like, not the end of the world. So let's go to the util and just see what my exposures are there. Al Horford, my highest exposed guy, which makes sense kind of because of the last time that I did it with the util. If you looked when I showed my builds from before, Marcus Smart was my highest owned guy. And the reason why, and the util was my highest owned guy, is, well, Tatum was in the captain a bunch. So is Jaylen Brown. And on top of that, Marcus Smart was my highest projected guy that was not named Tatum or Brown. So that's why Horford is obviously popping there a little bit more. Seeing PJ Tucker is probably a value that I'm getting a lot of exposure to, which I think is a pretty good and safe value. And I think the Celtics are willing to give PJ Tucker those corner threes at times. That if you look at PJ Tucker, I mean, he shot, 1 for 5 from 3. Like, the Celtics, they haven't seen him, like, light him up. They're going to let him just shoot and do what he wants. And he's done decent in this series. 26.25, 8.75, 36.25, 11, 19. Like, he's shown enough ceiling, especially at that price tag for PJ Tucker, where I think it makes some sense, especially where we don't like a lot of heat options. So Tucker there, Jaylen Brown at the 40%, probably because at the captain, what do I got? I got 20%. So overall, I get 60% Jaylen Brown. So I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher overall. Maybe that's something I'll make adjustments on. And if I want to make an adjustment to that, that's maybe changing Jimmy Butler's projection from that 35%. Maybe it's changing Horford. Maybe it's moving him down to like 40%, be able to get more Jaylen. That's something I'll definitely go back and look at. And I didn't adjust his projection. Sometimes I think what happens, and I mean, Big T's way better at this than me. Maybe it's because I need to adjust Jaylen. I adjusted all these other ones. So maybe I just give him a small bump. That could be something. We got 40% Derek White. So didn't kick him all the way out from the pool, which, yeah, I mean, probably is better that I didn't kick him out from the pool. It's okay to get 40% of him. I think that's fine. The interesting thing is Oladipo. So I moved him up from like the 13 to the 18, and I think it's because the price has gone up, right? He's 5.2K. So I still only get 10% of him, which is kind of wild. I think it's because of the price jump. So if any of you are watching this, you watch the Up the Lock show later on, maybe talk about Oladipo in like the live show chat. Maybe ask him like about that. I'd ask Big T about that 5.2K price tag of Oladipo, because that is a big price jump and difference. So that's really interesting. And one thing I think we could do to maybe compare is we look at Oladipo teams. So let's click this. This will show me all the Oladipo teams. So what do the two Oladipo teams look like? You know what they are? They are, one of them's a 3-3. It's like, I don't love this team. Like Struss, Oladipo, and Tucker. I don't know if that's like, It's not the worst team, but it's not my favorite. It's just an onslaught of all of them, and it just like loads up like the last like cheap guy, I guess, of the 5-1. So I like that one a little bit more. And if I don't like this team, this is what you can do in SaberSim. You just click the mark and uncheck it, and the team disappears. And that way, you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to have it as a team for you. So that's one way to use the opt-out over here at Run Pure Sports. If you haven't signed up and you want to sign up, we do have a code called PGA50. I believe it's still running unless Hoop got rid of it. So if you give it a shot and it doesn't work, then Hoop has finally pulled the plug. He's been saying he's going to pull the plug on this promo code. Still is not. So if you haven't signed up, though, use that code PGA50, get you 50% off. Also, please like and subscribe to this video. That way you can get notified when we go live. But yeah, so let's keep looking at some of these teams. I want to look at the stacks. So what do I have stack-wise? I have 50% 5-1s. I got 35% 3-3s. And I have 15% 4-2s. So sort of similar to the exposures that I had the last time. The only difference is I have more 5-1s, it looks like, than 4-2s. And I think it's because I was really aggressive on bumping down a lot of those heat projections. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Those are pretty good. Let's look at, you can see the 2-man stacks. I guess you see it here kind of. So it doesn't it shows the teams. And obviously we know I'm very Celtics heavy. So that's probably why. Here's the 3-3s. Obviously, mainly 4-mans, no 5 or 4-man heat stacks, which is good. Because again, I think that's the approach I'm taking. I'm not just gonna like go into the opto and be like, hey, make sure to get me X amount of Heat or Celtics. Like I'm just gonna up the projections and then kind of see what it does. So I think that's pretty good. Let's go back here and look at this. Yeah, I mean overall, pretty decent. I don't mind it. What are you guys thinking? Let me know in the chat what your kind of overall thought process is on that. Phil says, nobody will want to play Oladipo tonight. Yeah, Oladipo is definitely going to be people will probably be more uncomfortable with him. But my issue is that price, man. Like the 5-2, like it is starting to get up there where it's interesting and that's why I don't think he popped in as much. I think it's because of what his price tag was at 5.2K. So I don't know. Obviously, I made other adjustments to projections, so that can obviously change some stuff up. But one last thing I want to do, which I don't mind looking at, is because you can set rules. So I want to go back to that last slate that I had played because this is something I have talked about doing, and I don't do it enough, I don't think, and I wish I would do it more. And I'm going to add some of these guys back to the pool too. Mainly Derek White. I want to add him back and just kind of rerun projections with one rule in there and just see what the teams do, because I think it's not a bad way to go. So if I added in this rule, and I'm gonna bump down Smart's projection just to, we'll leave it. I'm gonna put it at 51 exactly with Horford, just because I want to see what that does too, because I'm curious after looking at the last thing. What do you think of Bam out? Dude has been pissing me off. Yeah, GQ, I'm not playing Bam. I haven't played him all series. It's one thing I've definitely gotten right, and I'm going to continue to not play him. I think there was one time, maybe one slate, where I got like 10%. I can't remember if I used that projection or that lineup set that I had built. So, but this is the thing I want to try. So one thing I think you can do sometimes, like a simple basic rule that can just make you really unique, is make groups, right? So like, let's make a group. This is the group I want to make. I want to make a Jason Tatum, a Jimmy Butler, and a Jaylen Brown. Okay. I'm going to save that group. And I'm going to say, what am I going to do? I'm going to say, I'm blanking. Less than, equal to, more than. I want to do no more than. So I guess would less than 2 work? I'm terrible with these. So more than, we'll try that. Yeah, so we want less than. We want less than 2 of these. So let's run it and then see what happens and see if it runs what I want to do. Because I like the idea of making a group and like not change. You don't always change the projections, but like a lot of teams, sometimes maybe they'll put a lot of Butler, they'll put a lot of Jaylen Brown, and they'll put a lot of Tatum. This was probably earlier in this series. I definitely had thought about that a little bit. And the reason I thought it was an interesting way to go is like it might just build out some like unique and different teams for you. So yeah, here's what it kind of put out for me. Let's look at the Tatum only teams just to see those ones. So Tatum. All right, we get Jaylen Brown. At least one. Do we get any Jimmy Butler? Let's see if I got any Butler. So Butler is on. He's only on one of them. Let's see which one he's on. Yeah, there you go. So you don't have any Jaylen Brown there. They're all separate. And yeah, I mean, some of these teams, obviously, they weren't good teams because of this. Like the way the slate went and the way I adjusted my projections, it didn't work out well. But that's just one way you can use SaberSim and do some different stuff. Like let's say, like grouping away Marcus Smart and Derek White, right? After last time, maybe it's a good idea to group those two away from each other because they were very frustrating. They obviously cut into each other's minutes. I showed it on Popcorn Machine, right? Look at that. How much overlap is there really of Derek White and Marcus Smart? There's some, right? I mean, at least they did overlap here, which is kind of encouraging. So maybe you don't have to do it, but Marcus Smart, here he didn't play, right? And then Derek White. Like, yes, there is some overlap there, but like this hurt a ton. Like Marcus Smart and Derek White not getting the closeout together, that's frustrating. So, and yeah, some of that is Peyton Pritchard got that run instead as he was sitting. And then they went to a Robert Williams, Jaylen Brown, Horford, White, and Tatum closeout lineup, and Marcus Smart lost that run. So that's something that you can kind of go through and do. So yeah, that'll kind of wrap up our SaberSim talks, though. It was obviously good to do this with you guys. I'll mention the last couple stuff. Let me mention the schedule again for the day. If you could like and subscribe to the video, and when you subscribe to the channel, you get notified when all of our shows go live. 4:45 we'll be going live. You'll get that notification for the MLB Swing for the Fences show. So you want to check that out there. I don't know why I'm showing the calendar here. Don't need to be showing that. But yeah, we got that coming up. Then we got at 6 o'clock, we got the MLB Final Countdown show, JSU, DC. After that, we got 7 o'clock. We'll have Big T and JSU. They'll be breaking down the rest of the stuff for you guys. So you want to check all that out over at Run Pure. And then we got the Showdown show, round 3 for golf. Obviously, everyone's sweating out the golf right now. It's Friday, so it's a fun time. But round 3 showdown, there could be a weather edge. So be sure to check that show out. It's on the Mayo Media Network and our channel. And then we got round 4 showdown on Saturday night. That's on the premium side. And then Sunday, we got the MLB Swing for the Fences show, followed up by the NASCAR show. So you do not want to miss out on all of that over here at Run Pure Sports. But that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me on the morning show. We will see you guys next week on Monday for Memorial Day weekend. We should be breaking down some MLB, so you do not want to miss out on that. Should be a good time. Hopefully I'll get our boy DC back on the Mangone and Friends show, but I will see you guys later.